Hello and welcome to the Free Bin, the Toledo Public Library podcast. We are happy that you are listening to us, and we have some interesting things to say. It seems like this week has gone really fast. I want to introduce the person on the other mic is Harrison.
I'm Harrison.
And I'm Cindy. I always forget that. Yes, we're here. You know us. If you listen, you know us. Yeah, this week just went by. I feel like we were just doing random questions like yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
It
does feel like that was like the day before yesterday at most.
But it's been a whole week, and I finally have my podcast that I've had in my head for like a month to do. And so we're going to go over some things, some weird things, but really kind of cool things too.
I'm really looking forward to this. Cindy has been workshopping this episode and preparing for a while. It seems like a topic I would have picked. Yeah. So I'm quite pleased that Cindy is the one to have picked this.
That's right. We don't want to we don't want you to think that, Harrison's all about this kind of stuff, but he kind of is.
I kind of am.
Yeah, you kind of are. So do you have the news thing? All right, here we go. News. We have a lot coming up in August tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but August starts tomorrow. And I cannot believe it's already August. We are 2/3 of the way through the summer. It seems like it's just crazy. And of course, school will start in over a month, and that's crazy too. So I'm sorry. I apologize to all the children who have to go back and the teachers too. It's a bummer. We don't have to go back though. We're always here like day and night. But we have some cool stuff coming up. So for kids and teens, we have all of the stuff going on that you are welcome to come to. Teens, you can come to adult stuff. If you're 16 and up, you can come to Story Trackers. If you want to come to the community conversation and put your 2 cents in, you can do that too. But 2 things that are coming up next week. Okay, so Knit and Stitch. It's the first Tuesday of the month. 12 to 2. If you got a craft or a thing you want to do and you want to talk and chat with people who do the same things you do, come on by.
No experience necessary. Nope. This is a time to come and learn from each other.
That's right. And I bet you if you came with a ball of yarn and a crochet hook, somebody would teach you how to do it because they all know how. They're pretty amazing. And then August 6th at 10:30 a.m., which is a Thursday, we have our summer reading program, and it is The Rock Puppets. And I have it on good authority that it's going to be cool.
Always popular.
Yeah, so come get a seat and watch The Rock Puppets. They are very interactive, and they've got some really cool stuff going on. We also have the next week, and we'll remind you again on the next podcast, but the next Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday night is the American Library Association Grant Community Conversation, where we are going to sit down and talk about accessibility in the library. Bring your ideas, bring your thoughts, bring anything that you want to share about how we as a library can be more accessible to everyone in our community, no matter who you are or what barriers you might face. We are looking at trying to make our library as accessible as we can to everyone. And so that is our community conversation, August 11th. And then we also have, and I can't pronounce this.
Yeah, the dance group, I believe the name is Nahuatl, so I won't do super great with this. Amayal Mazatl Sitlaltonal Mexica Aztec Dance Group. I hope I got that
right.
Right.
I hope so too, because it's a hard one. If you don't know that language, but it's an amazing dance group. They perform all over. I know they've been at several events this summer. They're on August 13th at 10:30 a.m. in the backyard, and so please come and join that group and just enjoy the music and the dance and the color and the culture. It'll be so cool. So there's other stuff going on too, but that's the main thing. As always, we have Storytime Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. with Miss Denise. And lately we have been packing it out.
Yes.
Where'd all the little kids come from?
I know.
Like come out of the Cabbage Patch.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's what's going on. And much to my dismay, Harrison has brought something pink to drink.
I did, we've been drinking some things that are, I would say, they're very, very good. Well, like we had that wonderful smoked cream soda last week. But I thought,
yum.
I think it's time to challenge ourselves again.
I know, we need some
with something bright pink.
And it is. It's baby. Well, it's not quite Pepto-Bismol, but it's close.
Yeah, it's a little lighter than Pepto-Bismol, and this is not super unusual, but it has the chunks. Yeah. It's a bright color and it has the chunks. Yeah. I know that you struggle with the chunks.
I have issue with the chunks.
But this is how, we grow as people, is to overcome this adversity.
Okay, yes, face your fears. Okay, taste buds. So I don't mind the taste. I don't think of Coke. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's Parrot brand strawberry flavor coconut milk with the coconut chunks.
Yeah, and that's what I have trouble with. Not the strawberry flavor, not the coconut milk, just the little bits of coconut.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do well on a deserted island.
And to
with
pair.
Coconut. And you don't have to give me a lot because I pretty much guarantee I'm not going to drink it all.
Okay, we'll start with that.
Okay.
To pair with this also, I have brought El Super Leon brand baked coconut macaroon candy.
Oh.
They had their the regular kind. If you've had their bars before, I love them. They've got the U.S. flag colored ones. They've got the Mexican flag colored ones.
Wow.
But I opted for this because it's toasted.
Ooh.
They run it under a little creme brulee type of situation right there. So,
okay. All right.
So we get all our coconut for the day. Oh, that smells nice. It's browned on the top.
Oh, it does smell good. And I just love coconut. And I know it was a food first, but it smells like suntan lotion. And you can eat this because it's gluten-free, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I sure hope so.
All right, so what are we doing first? Drinks?
I'll leave it to you. I brought it. You can decide how to proceed with our culinary
This smells like Quick.
experience.
Strawberry Quick.
Oh, it really does. Yeah.
Okay, let's do the drink first.
Drink first.
It would be better cold.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not bad, and I didn't get any chunks, so.
Yeah, I didn't put it in the fridge.
Yeah, it would be good.
It would be better.
It would be good on ice. I like everything on ice, though, so.
It's really nice. Sometimes that strawberry flavor can be overwhelming, but they've got it balanced real well.
And you can taste the coconut.
Yeah.
And it doesn't taste artificial.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. Okay,
Parrot
not bad as long as I don't get the chunks.
Yeah, Parrot makes good stuff. I'm going to come back to this one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge coconut eater. I don't know why. I just am not. But this is good. It does taste like coconut candy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
These are good. Not quite the mushroom stuff that we've had in the past.
Not the mushroom drink.
I'm going to have to go to Trader Joe's and see what weird stuff I can come up with for.
Yeah. So, branching out, brought some chunks back. I didn't go too far afield, right? I didn't pick something really unusual.
No.
They're both well within our scope, our comfort zone, I think, other than the chunks. But I figured I'd get some strawberry coconut to pair with the regular coconut. Ultra combo!
If you have issues with hearing people chew, just mute us for a minute.
What's the opposite of ASMR?
So I read, we got a new book in the library that, as many people know, I'm a huge mystery fan. I'm always looking for new mystery writers, especially creative mystery writers that kind of go afar afield. Or I like historical mysteries, but these particular books don't feel particularly historical. Mm-hmm. They are set in a historical time, but they don't feel that way, like a Victorian one or a Gilded Age one or something like that. It's not like that. It's very much a story first, then a historical novel. Mm-hmm. So the books are about, let's see, I wrote this down. Here's my opening line. The early years of forensic medicine and the woman that made it happen. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's the premise. We're going to talk about that. Recently, I read 2 books by the author Tietjen. That's Tietjen, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. She is a new writer, so these are her first 2 books. Her first book is Death in the Details, and this book introduces the character of Maple Bishop. She's a widow, and she lives in Vermont. She is struggling to keep her house because of the loss of her husband. So this is set in 1945. It's set after World War II in America. Okay, so it has nothing to do, it's not a European at all. It's all American. She is trying to figure out a way to make a living because she discovers that her husband he's a doctor, he was the town doctor, and her husband did not leave her anything, like $7 or something, because he gave away much of he was helping people. He wouldn't take a payment, or he wouldn't do it. It's post World War II rationing. All of that is still happening. So he left her with nothing. So she couldn't pay her mortgage, and she's desperate to do that. So she begins to look around and realizes that her hobby, which is building doll houses, and she builds all of them, all the pieces and parts, is a way for her to make money. And so she starts to develop a business, and then starts to sell doll houses to survive the coconut hiccup.
It's still happening.
So in the course of her life, in this book, she discovers a body that is hanging in a barn. It looks like suicide, and the local authorities brush it off as suicide, but there's something about the scene of the crime that bothers Maple. And you have to remember, Maple's character has a photographic memory, and so she can look at something and remember every detail about it, much to her advantage and also to her dismay, because when people have that true photographic memory, it stays forever. So you're trying to get, we can kind of erase things from our minds, but there are people who cannot do that. So she goes home, and in her effort to kind of figure this out, she's still grieving her husband. She won't stop. She needs to keep busy. She recreates the crime scene in miniature. So she builds a dollhouse of that room, of that barn in miniature, with all the details that she can find and can remember. And she goes to revisit the crime scene several times. The sheriff brushes it off and said, "Oh, that's ridiculous. It's just suicide. Leave it alone." And she won't leave it alone. And as a result, the mystery unfolds. And the nutshell, what she calls it death in a nutshell, helps to solve the crime, because it helps her see the details that the bigger scene of the crime did not allow her to see all at once. So once she has kind of shrunk it down into a manageable space, she can see all the details in context. Mm-hmm. So from there on, the mystery unfolds. Obviously, it's a mystery. I'm not giving it away. The books are super interesting, especially when she talks about crime scene, the way they did it back then, and, people picking up things and walking over things. And, now we have so much more technology and ideas about how to preserve a crime scene.
Picking stuff up with a pencil is
right.
My favorite old detective story trope.
Mm-hmm. And so, on a side note, I was watching Midsummer Murders last night, and I'm like, as they're coming into this crime scene, they just pick up this thing, and it's like not the murder weapon, but it's something that would, like a clue, and they have no gloves on, and I'm like, where are your gloves? Anyway, that gets me. Anyway, so the characters are really well written. You really, interiorly, you hear Maple's thoughts and her processes. And you kind of relive her grief with her, because she is still truly grieving. And then to have nothing left to her feels like a betrayal of her husband, of her. And so she's dealing with all of those. So there's that emotional angst and feelings that you kind of walk through, but it also is channeled into this frustration with the authorities. And she was the first lawyer, the character of Maple was the first lawyer woman lawyer that was trained in Boston. So that's her claim to fame. She is a medical lawyer. She was able to work in Boston, but she cannot work in a small town because they won't accept her as a lawyer. Anyway, neither here nor there. That's all part of the story. But this is where I went down a rabbit hole because I am who I am. I opened the book. The first one is called Death in the Details. I opened it up, and on the page, I got to look here. I think it's in the author notes in the back. It says, Maple Bishop exists because of NPR. And she really exists because Frances Glessner Lee existed. Mm-hmm. And she had never heard of her until she was scrolling through her phone and she saw an article about Frances Glessner Lee.
Yep.
That sent me down this little rabbit hole. And I've always been a fan of forensic stuff, of crime and mysteries. I think I was raised by a police officer, and his stories, he didn't tell us gruesome stories. And in fact, when I said, I want to be a forensic scientist, he said, you will until you see your first dead body. And I was like, oh, you're probably right. And so I kind of grew up on crime shows. Funny story about my dad as a police officer. He was a police officer for a long time, over 10 years. And as a police officer, we never watched police shows in our house. We watched Barney Miller. That was the only show we watched because my dad said it's the most realistic. And it was. It's mostly paperwork, going out on calls, walking a beat, all those kinds of things. So, yeah, it's just, anyway, that's my little side note. So, these books are based on the real life mother of forensic science, Frances Glessner Lee. Glessner Lee was extremely wealthy heiress due to her family's inherited wealth and generations of wealth. Her father was very good at making money. She was raised in a very privileged way in Boston and eventually in Boston, but also I think she was raised in Baltimore also. She pursued forensic investigation on her own, and she worked closely with a man named George Burgess McGrath, who was a professor in pathology at Harvard Medical School. And he was the chief medical examiner in Boston. At the time when they were working on this was around the turn of the century. So we're talking the Gilded Age, kind of the beginning of crime scene investigation where so initially when a dead body was found, they would call the police and the police would call the coroner. And the coroner was just somebody who was assigned that job. It could be anybody, but it wasn't a medical professional necessarily. Right. So sometimes the doctor was, sometimes it was the chief of police or the sheriff. Sometimes it was just, the judge down the street. He gets to be the coroner. Right. And they would come and declare the person dead. And then that was kind of the end of it.
Right.
So
because there's a medical examiner and there's a coroner, and sometimes people think of the two things as being interchangeable,
right?
But they're not.
And they're not equivalent. So the coroner had no training in medical, not really in medical background. The medical examiners, so both McGrath and Glessner Lee were proponents of having a medical professional be the medical examiner instead of just a coroner who could be anybody.
Right. And some coroners did have experts.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of them did, but it wasn't necessarily what they did.
They didn't have to.
Right.
I think that was now, looking back on reading a little bit, I have 3 books here I'm going to talk about, but looking back on her life, she would have been absolutely classified on the autism spectrum. She's so detail-oriented, so she was so scheduled and so disciplined in her focus. This was her focus. Forensic science, medical examiners, all of that, crime scene stuff. Then she was just eccentric, brilliant, and a little bit difficult to get along with. Mm-hmm. She was married, then divorced, and she really didn't start her drive into forensic medicine until she was later in life and her children were grown. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk a little bit about her. I'm going to go back to the things she did for Harvard because she really loved Harvard, which is ironic because she couldn't go there. Mm-hmm. She was a woman, and they didn't let Harvard people in. So she started creating models in the 1930s, and I'm there. So I'm going to read a little bit about this from her Wikipedia page, just because it says it better than I did. She created homicide scenes for study by police in miniature. She recreated the scenes meticulously with great attention to detail. Then the scenes could be studied in depth to train police to look very closely at the detail of each scene and then solve the mystery. Mm. So everything was a 1 inch, 1 foot scale. And they are, if you can Google them online and see pictures of them, they're meticulously detailed. They're a little gruesome, and they're certainly not the happy little families of dollhouses.
It's like an Addams Family dollhouse.
Yeah, it kind of is. So in 1945...
Hey, did you ever play Golly Ghost?
So these grew and she had the great support of a team of men who promoted her throughout this whole time. They really believed in the system that she had come up with. Mm-hmm. And she believed that if you, and I can't remember if I said this or not because I've said it to several people. She believed that if you scrunk something down, you could notice that, all the details better. So she donated her dioramas after creating them, and I think there's 20 of them. She donated them to Harvard for use in her seminars. So she would come in and teach a seminar called Nutshell Studies of Unexplained Death. And they were intricately constructed dioramas of actual crime scenes. So these are scenes she would get the information from. I don't think she attended the scenes, each one, but she would get them, complete with working doors, windows, and lights. There's 20 models were based on the composites of actual cases and were designed to test the abilities of students to collect all the relevant evidence. Mm-hmm. The models depicted multiple causes of death and were based on autopsies and crime scenes that Glessner Lee had visited. Mm-hmm. Oh, so she did know. Glessner Lee paid close attention to detail in creating the models. The rooms were filled with working mousetraps and rocking chairs, food in the kitchens, and more. And the corpses accurately represented discoloration or bloating that would be present at the crime scene. Each model cost about $3,000 to $4,000 to create, and this was in 1945. So that's a lot of money.
A lot of money, a lot of detail to get up to that.
And she had a guy who manufactured everything, all the dishes and all that stuff for her.
Wow.
Yeah. They were given, the viewers or the attendees at this seminar were given 90 minutes to study the scene. Now, 18 of those are still being used today.
Wow.
By Harvard Associates in Police Science as of training up till 1999. And in 2020, the models could be found at the Maryland Frances Glessner Lee Homicide Investigation. In 2020, the models could be found at the Maryland Office of Chief Medical Examiner in Baltimore, where they were still used in the annual Frances Glessner Lee Homicide Investigation Seminar. You can see one of her nutshell studies, Sitting Room and Woodshed, on display at the Rocks. I'm not sure where the Rocks are. In a miniature work of art, a historic artifact, and a teaching tool for forensic science. These were also featured at an exhibit at the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
Which I would have loved to see. I was just not there at the right time. Mm-hmm. But I've been to the Smithsonian a couple times, and it's very cool. So she was made captain in 1943 of the New Hampshire State Police, making her the first woman to join the International Association of Chiefs of Police. And this has been reported as honorary, but in 18 Tiny Deaths, which is one of the books I'm going to read something from here, by Bruce Goldfarb, the New Hampshire Police Superintendent Ralph Caswell, who appointed her captain, is quoted as saying, "This was not an honorary post. She was a full-fledged She was a full-fledged captain with all the authority and responsibility of the post.
You want some more pink?
I know. I think that's what made me cough. It was the coconut that's stuck in
Oh, no.
Okay.
ASMR.
What are you talking about? I can't be the only one.
This is the opposite of ASMR.
What's ASMR?
Oh, that's that thing where you find videos online where it's just people like crinkling bags.
Oh, okay.
Typewriter.
Okay,
People
yeah.
listen to it and feel like it helps people zone out, apparently.
Oh, well, this will never help
This
people
will not help people zone out or feel the warming tingles of voices in the next room. We're just over here chewing and coughing.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Sorry about that. Wow. Okay. I'm done. Okay, so here's the dioramas. Now, this is kind of cool because the two books that I read, one of the murders takes place in a barn, and the other murder takes place in a burned out cabin. So, Glessner depicted these crime scenes: a 3-room dwelling, a log cabin, a blue bedroom, dark bathroom, burned cabin, which, by the way, is what happened in the book, an unpapered bedroom, pink bathroom, attic, woodman's shack, barn, saloon, jail, striped bedroom, living room, 2-story porch, kitchen, garage, parsonage parlor, and a bedroom. They have all been part of the Renwick Gallery in the Smithsonian American Art Museum. Cool. I think that this author, I hope so. I hope she's going to go through every single one of these. I think that would be so fun. Anyway, there's several books that Katie Tietjen has written. I hope she's going to write more because I really did enjoy these. And then there is a book called 18 Tiny Deaths: The Untold Story of Frances Glessner Lee and the Invention of Modern Forensics.
Yeah.
Side note, she and Earl Stanley Gardner were friends.
Oh.
And he dedicated several of his detective novels to her, including The Case of the Dubious Bridegroom.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So we all go, and Harrison and I talked about this too. Why did she do this? You know, other than her passion for forensic science and the truth and her desire to make these miniatures, Frances had a lot of money. A lot of money. A lot of money she could never spend in a lifetime. And so here's the things she did at Harvard. Now, keeping in mind, she didn't get to go to Harvard.
Right.
It was a school that did not admit women at the time. And so she could never be a true student there. So she did the following. Are you ready for this? I got to find it. Alrighty. She endowed in 1931. She endowed the Harvard Department of Legal Medicine, so she created the whole department. And later, she gifted enough to establish the George Burgess McGrath Library. She endowed a chair in the legal medicine, which is like, I know that means something. I'm just not a Harvard person. And the Harvard seminars in homicide investigation. So her money paid for all of this. She also endowed the Harvard Associates in Police Science, and that has a division dedicated to her called the Frances Glessner Lee Homicide School. This woman had a chunk of change to spend.
She had a lot of money and knew exactly what she wanted to accomplish with it.
Right. And I think that's admirable. I don't care how she spent her money because I believe that her forward thinking in all of this made an incredible difference.
She put it to work. She put it to good use. And it's for me, like I started reading this book. I made it about a third of the way through and I couldn't finish out the book. I know that's a running theme here for me in general.
I couldn't either.
But it's a great thing that she did. It's a great story. She's just a really cool person for doing, she had this wealth and instead of just thinking about, keeping that in her bank account like a high score, she just spent it on what she wanted, felt a need that she saw and she made things happen. But it doesn't, for me, and definitely check out the book. I'm just talking about for me, the fact that she had those resources and the determination and the stubbornness to just, if this thing needed to be solved, she would pay to get it out of the way. If something needed to be created, she would pay to create it.
Right.
It doesn't have quite the narrative twists and turns in a way that some other stories do. So it's like, I love what she created and the fact that she created it.
Yeah.
And she's a very cool person. But in terms of following the story, it felt at a certain point like the Indiana Jones sword fight, right? Where the guy's sitting there doing all these flourishes and spinning his swords around, and Jones just whips out his gun and shoots him. Because it would be like, oh, there was this thing, there was this, this hang up with the administration at Harvard, and they had to do it. And so she was like, all right, $10,000. And then they
it
would
happened.
move.
Right.
And that's not a ding on what she did. It's just, it's hard to construct like the narrative out of those moments. But I fully am like, I love seeing it. 'Cause she was like, she did it. She moved the mountains. She
did. And that's the value of wealth, is that you can use it to do the things that you deem to be important. And I do feel like she saw, like you said, she saw a need. She saw that they needed to move police work forward. They needed to, and that's from, I think, hanging out as in legal medicine and then hanging out with the guy that was the medical examiner and all of those kinds of things. So she really saw the need to do that there was training that needed to happen so that murders could be solved, so that justice could be served.
Yeah.
I'm going to read just a little bit from, to kind of bring people up to date. This is from Judy Melinek, MD, who is she's an author, and she wrote several books, and one of them looks really interesting, actually. It's called Working Stiff, 2 years, 262 bodies in the making of a medical examiner. That looks good. Anyway, her way of doing this, she went and saw these. So when she went for her interview, I think she was going to be in Boston or Baltimore. She went and she saw them in the Baltimore ME office and was stunned by them. They were not well preserved, and they have been yet since then. The museum, I think the Smithsonian kind of took them and made some changes in preservation things to keep them updated, but they are still in use as something that they use for training purposes. It's too bad they couldn't. I mean, now there are still people who do miniatures and do amazing things with them. You could still do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could kind of maybe solve some crimes that need solving. Anyway, so she writes in the introduction here, peering into the unique and incomparable scenes encased in the nutshell studies, I was taken back in time to a period in history when death investigation was beginning to emerge as a scientific discipline. And doctors were just starting to challenge the primacy of coroners and police detectives in distinguishing criminal acts from other types of deaths. Here was the work of both a gifted artisan and a medical expert, joining her skills to create something more than science and deeper than art. The exhibits are designed to be functional, educational, and fully decipherable, but the interpretation of each scene could change based on the medical information provided by autopsy findings. There is something about peering into a room from above at dolls rather than the moving, living people, or their no longer moving, no longer living bodies, that allows you the time and the space to train your eye, that makes you notice the details. This book is a culmination of years of historical research using primary sources, including the papers of Frances Glessner Lee herself. It is the story of how one stubborn, intelligent, and creative self-taught woman immersed herself in a passion that had immense repercussions in the fields of both medicine and the law. Goldfarb places Frances Glessner Lee and her intelligence, influence, wealth, and forceful personality in context within the world of medico-legal death investigation. As this absorbing and evocative book will show you, Frances Glessner Lee should be recognized as the matriarch of the modern practice of forensic pathology. Her 18 tiny deaths have made a whole world of difference. And I just thought that was just a really good way that she wrote about the woman who kind of gave birth to forensic science.
It's a really cool story. And the fact that they're still preserved and there's still stuff that you can learn from those.
Yeah. I think it really is fascinating. And again, if you want to see them, you can just search them online. There are photos of them, but the photos too are in the book. We have the first 2 books of hers. The first one is Death in the Details. The second one is Murder in Miniature, and they are both really good.
Cool.
And that's out of my system now.
Nice. I'm just gonna, for my own part of this episode, I figured I would talk a little bit about the creation of the body farm in Knoxville,
which I find really interesting. Yeah. I think this is great. You're so macabre.
Are you familiar?
Help.
Are you familiar with the case that sort of sets...
No, I'm not. I've read about the body farm in novels and in stuff like that, but no, you have to give the background.
Okay. So the story starts in December of 1977. A lot of this I'm taking as a source, both from some information from the university, but mostly from a video that Caitlin Doughty did a while back on this case.
Cool.
And she pulled in some other detail. In December 1977, Dr. Bill Bass, a forensic anthropologist, was called upon to investigate an unusual case. A family in Franklin, Tennessee, had discovered that a Civil War grave on their property, one belonging to a Colonel William Shy, had been disturbed.
Ooh.
Strangely, when law enforcement took a look inside the grave, they found not bones, but a fresh, headless body. This looked to be an attempt to hide a body in an existing grave, which, you hear stories of that with the mob and other things. It seems like a clever way to do it, potentially.
No one's going to find it there.
So the investigation quickly went from a suspected grave robbery to potentially a murder. So underneath the fresh body, once Bass was on the case and looking, found a, quote, thin layer of goo, which was taken to be the remains of Colonel Shy himself. And this was underneath in the coffin.
Okay.
Bass took the headless body to the University of Tennessee and boiled the meat off the bones using crock pots. Apparently they still use crock pots sometimes for this too.
Really?
It's the tool that does it.
Oh,
with and meat tenderizer too helps if you're looking for bones. So the body still had flesh. It was decomposed.
Yeah, but
it still had Bass. He could learn a lot from the bones, so he wanted to strip the flesh off and do that.
Yuck.
So based on this, and he sent the clothes off for analysis that he found, he determined that the victim was a white male in his 20s, and based on the state of decomposition, had probably been dead for a few months.
Okay.
Then he got a break in the case on January 3rd. Remember, the discovery was made in December, so they're moving pretty quick. The head and the feet, also previously missing, were discovered inside the grave after further investigation.
Oh, so they kept working on that.
They kept working.
Okay.
The victim had been killed by a gunshot to the head. Bass found that he had never had any dental work, which is a little unusual. And then the report from the crime lab came in about the clothes, and the clothes were very strange. They had no labels, and they contained no synthetic fibers.
Okay.
Are you starting to get an idea of what Dr. Bass was beginning to suspect?
Not necessarily.
This was Colonel Shy.
Oh.
It was not a fresh body.
Oh, why was his head decapitated then?
We're getting there.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. Ooh.
So
yeah, I see. Yeah. Now
I probably didn't lead us there in the smoothest way.
No, I was too chicken to say, oh, it's the guy who was originally in the grave.
So Colonel Shy had been buried in a cast iron coffin, so it was a sealed, relatively anoxic environment. Along with that, during the Civil War, there was this very, very intense arsenic-based embalming was very common. And that developed, a lot of soldiers were getting sent home, long trips home.
Right.
And so embalming was got really intense. They'd soak bodies in arsenic. Ugh. Does a really good job of fixing the corpse, but obviously you want to glove up and maybe mask up nowadays.
And not bury him in dirt.
Now we know what being exposed to arsenic does, right? Mm-hmm. So that the sealed environment, the arsenic embalming, that had preserved the body very, very well until presumably grave robbers had indeed punched a hole in the coffin.
Oh, okay.
And now this is where we learn how grave robbing works logistically. They punched a hole in the coffin, presumably to tie a rope around the neck of the corpse and pull the body out through the hole in the coffin.
Okay. Because
that's just the most efficient way to do it. You don't have to dig up the coffin, pull a whole body out, pry open the coffin, all of this. Because obviously they're not there for the body. They're there for all of these Civil War era artifacts buried with the body.
Sure. Oh, this is in the 70s. So somebody was looking for some antiques. Mm-hmm.
They were out antiquing.
Surprise!
So they probably were in the midst of this on this property and gave up when the head detached from the body. Mm-hmm. And suddenly that whole process became too long, complicated, and frankly, probably icky to continue doing. You're planning on pulling a body out by the neck, taking all the stuff, all the buttons, whatever, off of the body, any valuables that he was buried with, and then just leaving. Mm-hmm. But if the thing that you were going to pull him out with now, someone's got to either keep digging and stay there or reach into the coffin and start digging around. They probably just decided it wasn't worth it and left.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what did Bill Bass do after getting the time of death wrong by 113 years initially?
That's true.
After he, discovered that this was in fact the body that was originally interred. Mm-hmm. So he realized that some of the methods he was using for finding time of death were inadequate. They didn't take into account initially all this context at first. And some of those methods had just never been subjected to rigorous scientific study. Mm-hmm. So he founded the University of Tennessee's Anthropological Research Facility in 1980, in part inspired by this incident.
Right.
So the facility, known colloquially as the Body Farm, was the first of its kind in the world. It was a place where donated bodies would be left outside to decompose under a variety of conditions, and those processes could be studied and documented in detail.
Right.
In 1987, Bass went on to create the university's Forensic Anthropology Center. Mm-hmm. So the work that still goes on at the Body Farm has led to major advances in the science of death investigation, and there are other such facilities around the world now, and around this country alone. There are others as well now too. But this was the first. So, for example, thanks to studies of insect activity on and around the body after death, forensic entomologists can now narrow down postmortem interval to within hours just based on the insects, eggs, and larvae found on a body. Mm-hmm. They can find this insect evidence, count how many generations of insects are there, and from that determine, based on the known behavior of that insect, how soon it arrives, exactly how long a body has been there.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so it's I think it's an interesting story of what came along. And Dr. Bass is still out there. He's 97 years old.
Walking around his farm.
And so I had heard...
Yeah.
I'd heard of the Body Farm. I had not heard that story before the Caitlin Doughty video I watched. I am considering donating my remains to the University of Tennessee for that purpose. haven't signed anything,
Okay.
haven't made that decision yet. But
can you specify how you want? I want to be buried in a lead coffin with arsenic.
No, I don't.
Or do they just
so.
put you somewhere?
I think you go where the studies dictate.
Yeah.
I don't think you can can request. But there's a conversation that happens when you start.
Sure.
So they've got a whole process. They explain they can pick up within 100 miles of the university campus. But beyond that, you do have to arrange transport yourself and get your corpse flown to Knoxville, and they'll pick up at the airport and get you to the facility. And
I'm sorry, I just giggled because of the baggage claim.
Yeah, well,
I'm picking up 3 bodies today.
Yeah, and it happens.
And hope it doesn't get lost.
Yeah, don't lose that.
Don't lose the body.
Yeah, you don't want to find that at the unclaimed baggage stores, Yeah. But yeah, they'll from what I read about that process, after the study that your body is used for is complete and the body is completely decomposed and defleshed, they retain your skeleton in the anatomical collection. And even though donors are anonymized, the family is notified about 3 years later, I think, when the skeleton is, when your bones, and that is still in the records linked to like the ID of that skeleton. So your family can privately come to the university and visit your bones in the permanent anatomical collection after the process, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, that's kind of nice that you don't just, your bones are hanging around.
Yeah. So I wanted to shout out I wanted to shout out our local funeral home, Bateman, because when I was thinking about, I wonder if I could arrange to donate at my body to the body farm. So I stopped by one day. This was, I think, last year, just on a day off, just to ask how that would work. And I had done some looking around, but I wanted to hear from them. And so the person who received me at the door, I don't recall her name, but she was very empathetic and welcoming and was ready to start, the whole death planning process. But I basically said, I'm not planning to die right now. I just want a general quote to fly my unembalmed corpse to Knoxville to go to the research facility. And at that point, she was just like, oh, yeah, that would be a Ziegler container and transport that costs about $. And I was like, awesome. All right, I'll get back to you. I just love that directness is available when you need it, because that's another kind of comfort to give to families, in addition to the warm, calming welcome and the handhold that, people come in when it comes down to how much does it cost to fly my corpse to Knoxville? They can just be like, $. Which I'm beeping out because quotes could change.
Yes,
gas,
they could.
Fuel prices, all of that is subject to change. But it was very spot on to like the general things I had found for estimates of flying from here to there. So yeah, I appreciated that. Yeah. That I feel like I've got a good ballpark answer, and I can follow up on that and make the arrangements. And the university has a whole process for that too. And you can, they'll help walk you through that too.
I know that there's also paperwork to cross state lines.
Yes.
You have to figure all that out. So
yeah,
because we'll have that issue coming at some point in our family, because my husband's side of the family is from Wyoming. So got to go back.
Yep.
But my husband threatens to do a road trip with the coffin in the back of the, the pickup. I'm like, okay, I'll be driving the other car. I won't be riding that one. Anyway, well, it was fascinating to go down that whole thing. And again, it's so much fun to find these books that I love, books based on somebody's real life. And I don't feel like I think that Katie Tietjen really gave a good, she was very respectful and made a good story out of something. And obviously it's fiction, but, but taking that whole story of someone so determined to find the truth and to find justice and do it in the best way possible. So yeah, it was good.
Very cool. Thank you for bringing that today.
Yeah. Well, I find the body farm fascinating. I think that's just I would never, it's not like a garden walk,
No.
But it's just interesting to me that there's this piece of property that you can walk and see things in, like, oh, that body's been here 3 months and look where the maggots are. Or this is, just that scientific research that is so hands-on. And you can see in real time that your hypothesis is either right or wrong. There's no theoretical stuff to it. It's just like, we're going to put this body out here and see how long it takes to decompose, and we're going to keep track of it. And then we'll know when we get to the crime scene and find a body. Oh, look, it's outside too, and it matches this. And
somebody out there has seen it happen and documented it.
Right, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah, to have
innovation and creativity.
A controlled, uncontrolled environment.
Right.
A real environment that you have eyes on.
And people are not dying. They're not being murdered for you to do your research. They have chosen to be there.
That's
I think it's much more. I think of these early years of forensic science. If you got somebody who was a police officer who just looks at it and goes, it's probably he just fell on that knife. And then every once in a while, there are these gems of people who are like, no, there's something wrong here. I'm feeling it in my gut. I'm hearing it. I know something's bothering me. And those are the people that move the narrative forward because they don't take no for an answer, or they're like, no, he didn't just fall on that knife. Somebody might have stabbed him. And just the idea that there's those creative individuals. We see that all the time. I think even more so now as people feel the freedom to be able to question and.
Yeah. And you can check.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about sometimes there will be something that's just received wisdom and maybe it's been borne out or appeared to have been borne out in the past, but you got to remember to go back and check.
Yeah.
Has this been looked at in a replicable, controlled environment multiple times and shown to be the case? And, it's most of the times when a dead body is found and requires investigation, it is anything but a controlled environment that you can get a straight story on what happened first.
Right. Especially those that are, time has passed.
Yep.
And so anyway, exciting chapter in forensic history.
Yes. And if there's anything I've learned from true crime stories, if you're in the woods and you think you found a mannequin, of course. No, you didn't.
Maybe not. No. Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, well, thanks.
Right. Yes, thank you.
We will see you all next time.
Yes, we'll see you next time. More strawberry coconut?
No.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. The Free Bin is a production of the Toledo Public Library, which is part of the Lincoln County Library District in beautiful Lincoln County, Oregon. Writing by Harrison Baker and Cindy Belek. Original music and editing by Harrison Baker. The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect those of any organization they represent. Good night.